All right, people, welcome to another episode of the First and Frame Rate Show. Hopefully your morning is going well. I am VF Baller and got a couple of topics on deck once again for you guys. Thank you guys for all the support that you guys been giving lately, and it's just been phenomenal. Just chugging over 1,000 subs, and we just continue to move because more people are subbing to the channel. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Now, if you can see on the screen, if you're watching on the YouTube side of things, I think I got my second camera back up and running properly now. If you're new to the channel, I used to have a dual camera setup, and sometimes you have PC problems, and those PC problems will cause some things not to work. Case in point, this time it was the webcam, but now I think I got it to work, so hopefully it will work and we'll be able to use the dual cam setup once again for the show. So that would be quite awesome if that's the case. Also, if you are listening on the podcast side of things, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys over there for the support. If you really have been supporting for a while, that is great. Just hit the 5-star rating over there so more people can search and find this podcast. Also share it with other people. Just send it to somebody. Say, hey, you're a Falcons fan. Hey, go check this guy out, see what he's about. Maybe you'll like him, maybe you don't. Or if you like Georgia Southern, hey, this guy's talking about Georgia Southern, go ahead and check him out as well. And also shout out to all the other people that are out there pushing Georgia Southern content. This is we're a really small school in the scheme of things, and not much media has been put out there for our school like ever. So this is like a really good time. I think it's like 3 or 4 different other avenues of media that is actually being talked about when it comes to Georgia Southern. So that is just great to see. So shout out to those guys. You know who you are, and if you haven't followed Georgia Southern content, you know who they are as well. They all do great content. Good to know that they're out there. All right, today we're going to talk about Calvin Ridley, his trade value, because it's already all over the sports wires about him being traded. I made a video about this a long time ago. I think I did it on an episode of the show where I said that the Falcons should just go ahead and let him go. Just go ahead and find a way to move him off the team. I just don't see any value of keeping him for the last year of his contract. Is $11 million. You don't know if he's going to come back and play. Even if he does come back and play, will it be viable that you get high production out of him? I'm not really sure. So there are teams out there who want him. Go ahead and try to trade for him. I'm not against that at all. Also, we're going to talk about JT Daniels. I made a video about this a while back, and Georgia fans thought I was crazy about this when I said that Coach Helton should try to pursue JT Daniels, and if he goes into the transfer portal. Look, there's reports that JT Daniels could be in the transfer portal, but not so fast. I don't think that JT Daniels will make it to Georgia Southern, not at this point, but I will explain all of that now, down the road. So, people call me crazy, and you see what happened. But nevertheless, let's talk about this Calvin Ridley situation. I think the Falcons should go ahead and trade for him. I think that the Falcons should trade him away. I think they should try to get no less than a 2nd round pick. Now, people are already saying they should get a 1st, and I'm not against that, but I said no less than a 2nd round pick. We got a 2nd for Julio. And Julio's a little bit older. Julio's a little bit on the decline of his career. There's a lot of upside to Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley can be an elite receiver if he wants to be. I think he has the ability to be. And I think that a 1st round pick will absolutely suffice. But if you don't have any takers willing to give a 1st round pick, I mean, what can you do? But I do feel that if it can't be no less than a 2nd. We're not giving Calvin Ridley away for a 3rd or nothing like that. So I think that with them getting us a 1st round pick for him, I think whoever they trade with, both parties win. I think Calvin Ridley will want to play wherever he's going to go. I would not be surprised if Terry Fontenot and company actually tried to reach out to him and talk to him and say, hey, look, what teams would you like to go to? We'll try to make it work within those teams, because one thing I will try to say for Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, they try to do right by their players. That's one thing I've noticed. They don't try to do anything wonky or crazy or backstabbing. I mean, even with Julio, Julio pretty much forced their hand and made them trade him basically, but they did right by him by, not just shoveling him off to somewhere. He went to the Titans. Titans took on his salary and gave us a second round pick, which at the end of the day, I think both parties did, win in for the most part. I think the Falcons won the trade a little bit more because Julio was pretty non-existent throughout the regular season. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does throughout the playoffs. I mean, I think that's where you really get to see the value of Julio Jones. Is he willing to step up and actually ball out throughout the playoffs? Because if you don't, this entire trade the Titans put together was just was a waste. So maybe he'll do something. I don't know. But with Calvin Ridley, it's not necessarily injury related. He's not injury prone like Julio. He will go out there and go for the ball when need be, long as whatever he's dealing with is resolved. Whoever gets him is going to get a phenomenal player. They're going to get a good player. And with that being said, this is a win-win for anybody. I mean, I think I heard like the Jacksonville Jaguars may get trade for him. I'm not really sure about that. Maybe. Then I heard the Jets as well. Man, that'd be tough. If he goes to the Jets, that'd be tough. It'd be tough if he goes to the Jaguars as well. Now, one team that a lot of people were saying that he may go to is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think that'd be the perfect fit for both teams. I don't necessarily think that the Eagles need a receiver like that, but they have 3 first-round picks this coming up draft. The Falcons wouldn't. I would not be against the Falcons trying to get one of those first-round picks for Calvin Ridley, and the Falcons could continue to build what they're building here in Atlanta with 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. I mean, you really can't ask for more than that if you're able to pull that off. So I think that's the most realistic, the most idealistic scenario. Because I don't see the Jets or the Jaguars like actually giving up a first round pick, especially the Jaguars. I mean, they got the number 1 overall pick, and I think the Jets is not too far behind. That will be insane if the Falcons are able to pull it off. They already got the number 8 pick, and then they turn around and get another top 10 pick. That would be nuts. But with that being said, that's highly unlikely. I don't see that happening. But at the same time, with the Philadelphia Eagles, we can get one of their first round picks. It's a win-win for both sides. And if they do get one of them first round picks, the Falcons need to get a home run player. And I think with whatever the 8th pick, or if it's the 15th pick, or whatever it is that the Falcons get, the Falcons need to find a way. And I've been thinking about this, and I've been watching this for the past couple of days. The Falcons need to go try to get Nakobe Dean. And I'm not saying this because, the Georgia football, because, one thing I notice about a lot of guys in the Atlanta Falcons, space that do content creation, they always try to link like Georgia Bulldog players to the Falcons. Like, you would know that, like, if you ever notice, and this is not a knock on them or whatever the case may be, but if you ever notice, like, you will see like some guys at Atlanta Falcons Nation. I love those guys. Those guys are cool. But not only just them, but not even just content creators, but just Falcon fans that happen to like Georgia Bulldogs in general. They have like this draft, they have like this mock draft where they have like Nakobe Dean, and then they have like Cook, and then they have George Pickens, and I can't even remember the really big guy that plays for Georgia. I just don't even follow the team like that. But you'll have like all these Georgia players that should be on the Falcons, quote unquote. And I'm like, it don't really work like that. I mean, it would be nice because this particular class that's leaving Georgia, I mean, phenomenal defensive guys. I mean, great. But Nakobe Dean, it's just something about this kid. I mean, it's something I would say this no matter where he plays. But just something about Nakobe Dean, he's like a sideline-to-sideline player that's going to pretty much solidify the linebacker area. And not only that, he can pass rush. He's a ball hawk. He can do a little bit of everything. It's kind of like the Micah Parsons of this draft, in my opinion. And it's just somebody that you should put this guy on your team. Will it happen? I don't know. I mean, at number 8, he probably still be there. And there's already talks about the Falcons probably picking up the edge rusher from Michigan. But if I had to pick the two, that's probably tough because the Falcons really need a bona fide pass rusher. I mean, you see what Max Crosby was able to do in the playoff game. I mean, he was causing a lot of headaches for Joe Burrow, even though they ended up winning the game. He was just relentless. You look at Bosa for the 49ers before he went out. I mean, these pass rushers, you want these type of guys on your team. I don't know if the guy from Michigan is going to be that dude, but a lot of people are saying that he is. One thing I know about Nakobe Dean is going to be like everything is advertised. He plays ball like everything that's advertised. So I would lean towards him. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at these 2 first-round picks, possibly, or even just the number 8 pick overall, that they cannot miss on that. And if you're going to get rid of Calvin Ridley, and even if you do get another second-round pick for him, I mean, that's 3 second-round picks. That's actually phenomenal. You can still take one of those second-round picks to probably trade back into the first round. So you're not losing either way if you get a first or second-round pick. I think you're gonna find a way to be successful with that many picks so early in the draft. We're gonna definitely see how that plays out. But like I said, I think Calvin Ridley, his value is up there. I think his trade value, he should get at least a first-round pick. No less than a second. If they was to happen to get that, then I'll be like, okay, kind of disappointed with the second, but I understand. Home run if you get the first, and I'll be highly upset if it's a third or lower. I mean that's unacceptable. But we'll see how that plays out. I just think that Calvin Ridley his time is up, and I think the Falcons should just go ahead and move on. No love lost. I think it's just best for both parties. So that's how I feel about that. If you like this content, go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, if you're on the podcast side of things, give me 5 stars, man. Let people know what I'm doing over here. The more stars, the more it's able to be reached to other people's eyes. They'll know what I'm doing over here. Also, subscribe on either platform if you're on YouTube or if you're on iTunes, if you're on Anchor, if you're on Spotify, if you're on any of those, subscribe. And so whenever I put a new episode up, you'll be notified and you'll be ready to go and listen at your leisure. So that'll be awesome. Thank you guys for the support. All right, before we close this out, we got to do the other half of this show. We're going to talk about JT Daniels possibly in the transfer portal. I saw the news on it about earlier today, and my main thing is, I tried to tell you guys. I tried to tell you that this is a possibility. I told y'all a while back you may want to be a Stetson Bennett fan, and the fact that Stetson Bennett just won a national title for the Georgia Bulldogs, there's no way that he's going to lose that starting job. If he comes back to play as a wrap, he's not going to be sitting on the sideline. No, absolutely not. And JT Daniels did everything he could to try to stay on the team and try to stay as a starting quarterback. Got hurt a couple times. Some people say he lost his job, whatever the case may be. And yeah, I get it. It happens. And right now, Kirby Smart's looking really good. The fact that he kept with Stetson Bennett, and for the most part, Stetson Bennett played a pretty good game. you know, he played a pretty good game in a national title game, and the writing was on the wall at that point. So JT Daniels is possibly going to move on to another team, transfer portal. What does this mean for Georgia Southern? Unfortunately, I will be highly surprised if JT Daniels ends up in Statesboro at this point. Now, when I made a video about this 2 months ago, this was we didn't know anything about Zach Roseman, David Dallas. Is it David or Josh? I think it's Dave Davis, the quarterback. David Dallas, Cal Vantrese, all these other quarterbacks that we got now. None of those guys was even on the radar at the time. We just had Tomlin, we had Quincy Bonner, we had Sigelski, we had Cam Ransom. So it makes sense to bring in a quarterback with the caliber of JT Daniels. Now we already recruited and or signed like 5 quarterbacks now. I just don't see JT Daniels coming into Georgia Southern at this point. I just don't see it. If it happens, I'll be highly surprised. And will I be happy? Yeah, I'll be happy, but I just don't. I don't see it happening. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and it's okay to be wrong. But I just don't see it now. Where I think he end up going, he'll probably end up. Goodness, I don't know where he'll go. Maybe to an ACC team. Well, he'll probably stay in the SEC. Maybe. But I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know. I mean, for some reason, I can see him in an ACC uniform or something like that. Like I could probably see him playing football at Miami or Virginia or something. I don't know why. I just have that frame in my mind that I could see him playing for some ACC team and actually getting a starting job or something. I don't know, but I think that ship has sailed. What does it mean if he actually did come to Statesboro? I think it'll be more of a cluster of what we have now. Calvin Ridley is pretty much going to be the starter. He's his last year eligibility, and Clay Helton pretty much got his man. Don't get me wrong, JT Daniels was his man, 3 years ago in 2018, 4 years ago in 2018, and he recruited him at USC, and we really thought that, okay, if things go well for Stetson Bennett, is it a possibility that JT Daniels come to Statesboro? And like I said, I thought it was a good possibility, but now you're looking at a situation now, we got like 5 different quarterbacks now, probably more than that. And I believe if Calvin Ridley was not picked up from Buffalo, if that didn't happen, we probably would be having this conversation, and we'd probably be having it more as a reality than just speculative. I think it'd be more of actual, real conversation. Like, okay, JT Daniels could come to the school because we could use a veteran to hold us over until, these other guys that are young get some experience under, Clay Helton and Brian Ellis's offense. You get a veteran in here to play 1 or 2 years, or with just 1 year, that would help tremendously for the young guys as well. But Calvin Ridley is already here. I think he's going to be the guy that hold us over for 1 year, and then you'll start seeing like the Cam Ransoms, and then you'll probably see the David Dallas or the Zach Roseman. I mean, you got guys here that could play football, and that are just going to want to play, and they have the talent to do so. So with that being said, I don't know. I just feel like this whole situation with JT Daniels is kind of unfortunate when you look at his entire story of all the things that he's gone through with losing his job at USC. I think he lost to due to injury or something. I didn't follow the whole story. He goes to Georgia in hopes of actually being the quarterback. Stetson Bennett walks on and takes the job and holds on to it. Now JT Daniels is in the transfer portal again. No telling where he's going to go now. The coach that initially recruited him is 3 hours away in Statesboro, but the quarterback room is so full right now. I just don't see it. I'd be highly surprised. I just don't see it for him to come here. You talked to me about a month and a half ago. Like I said, I made the video on it. I made a video on it when it was actually just could be. It could make sense. Now I don't think it makes as much sense. I will be highly surprised if JT Daniels come in and actually throw his name into the bucket with all these other quarterbacks. I will be highly surprised. And but we'll see. And more that information comes out about the situation, I'll definitely be talking about it. I always try to follow up with things like this, especially when it involves Georgia Southern. It will be really, really interesting. But at the end of the day, if it does happen, Georgia Southern has a really good problem on its hand with quarterbacks. I mean, you don't want to have too many quarterbacks, but when you have too many quarterbacks, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. So we'll see how this all plays out. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. This is going to be the end of the show. I am VF Baller. This is First and Frame Rate Show. Doing a podcast every day now, because normally I used to do these videos I used to do like just basic YouTube videos every day, but I decided to say just consolidate everything into one instead of doing this episode of the podcast on every Wednesday. Just do one every day and just take whatever I do on the video side, turn it into a podcast where you can watch it in video form, like if you're on YouTube right now, or you can listen to it on the podcast avenue of your choice, whatever it be, iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or whatever other avenue you like to choose. Is all up to you. And I think that this was a pretty good move for the better, because it just feels more, it just feels more, I don't even know what to use. I just feel more comfortable making this type of content instead of making a video and then turning back around and making an episode every week. Just do one every day. So it works out very well. And from the feedback of you guys, seem like you guys are liking this as well. And that's always awesome to know that you guys are continuously supporting. I really, really appreciate it. So if you don't mind now, before I go, hit the like button on the YouTube side of things. If you're on YouTube, if you're on the podcast sides of things, give me a 5-star rating, subscribe to the channel. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast side. So anytime I put up a new episode, you will be notified. And in some cases, it'll automatically download for you so you can listen to it. Usually be ready to go at 9 a.m. Eastern time for you guys' enjoyment. So 9 a.m. Eastern, new episode every day, Monday through Friday. Weekends I fall back and try to regroup for the next week. All right, y'all. Let me know what you guys think about Calvin Ridley. And let me know what you guys think about JT Daniels. I will see you guys on the next one. You guys be easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.